Hey, everybody, welcome. For years now, the story in tech has all been about moving one way, into the cloud. But what happens when that flight path hits some serious, unexpected turbulence? Well, today we're digging into a really fascinating and kind of counterintuitive trend called cloud repatriation, and specifically why radio broadcasters are making the call to bring their operations back home.
So our guide for this journey is an incredibly detailed 10-part tutorial. And that tutorial itself is based on a massive report from a tech research firm, Virtualization Options LLC. They basically built the entire strategic playbook for making this move. We're going to walk you through the highlights of all 10 chapters of their report.
And this really gets us to the big question, right? The cloud was sold to us as the end-all be-all. It's flexible, it's scalable, you save money. It was supposed to be the final stop for all our digital stuff. So why on earth would an industry like radio broadcasting, where you can't afford to go off air, decide to turn the plane around? Well, the answer really boils down to the gap between the promise and the day-to-day reality. As the report lays out, for industries like live broadcasting, where there is literally zero margin for error, the hidden complexities of relying on somebody else's computers have started to outweigh the benefits. And let's be super clear here. This is not just about unplugging a few servers and plugging in some new ones. The Virtualization Options report frames this as one of the most significant strategic decisions a broadcast company can make. We're talking a move that touches everything: finance, security, and even legal compliance.
Okay, so let's get into the why. What's actually pushing them to do this? The first part of the report really breaks down the powerful forces that are pulling broadcasters back toward on-premises solutions.
The report actually kicks things off by looking backward at that initial gold rush to the cloud. Chapter 1 dissects the original sales pitch, cost savings, amazing flexibility, and it puts it right next to the real-world headaches that popped up, like costs that were all over the place and weird performance issues that only broadcasters would run into. It's a real lessons learned chapter.
Next up, Chapter 2 cackles something that is absolutely non-negotiable for broadcasters: the rulebook. We're talking strict FCC mandates, like the emergency alert system, where failure is not an option. The report makes a strong case that proving you're in compliance is just way, way easier when you can physically see and touch your own hardware on site. Then, Chapter 3 raises the stakes even higher, all the way to national security. I mean, think about it. Radio isn't just for music. It's a piece of our critical national infrastructure. This chapter really gets into the scary stuff, the security risks of outsourcing that infrastructure. And it asks a fundamental question: who really controls the data centers your station depends on?
And that security question flows right into the theme of Chapter 4, which is all about control. The report shines a big spotlight on the danger of vendor lock-in. That's when it becomes so expensive and complicated to leave your cloud provider that you're basically trapped. That lack of freedom is a huge reason broadcasters are wanting to take back the keys. This quote, right from the report's summary, just nails the whole dilemma. It forces every broadcast executive to look in the mirror and ask themselves this exact question. And by phrasing it this way, it stops being a simple tech choice and becomes a core question of business strategy and responsibility. So once a broadcaster answers that big question for themselves, the next thought is, okay, how do we actually do this? Let's move on and look at how the report builds a really practical, step-by-step roadmap for charting that course home. This roadmap here, this is basically the entire second half of the report. It's the full game plan. It kicks off with the numbers and risk analysis in Chapter 5, then walks you through planning, picking vendors, designing the architecture, and then the deep, deep technical stuff in Chapter 9. But what's really brilliant is that it ends with Chapter 10, people. The report makes it clear a move like this is just as much about managing your team as it is about managing servers. All right, let's talk execution, because a plan is just a document until you actually start building the thing, right? The report dedicates an entire chapter, Chapter 9, to the real nitty-gritty of the technical planning. This is where the blueprints become reality. And the report is crystal clear on this point. The new system you build on premises can't be a step backward. It has to meet, or ideally, beat what the cloud was doing. That means you have to cover every single base, from the core audio playout and content scheduling all the way to things like business systems and, of course, a totally bulletproof disaster recovery plan.
So what's the final verdict from the report? Well, it really drives home that this whole decision to repatriate, it isn't just another IT project with a start and a finish line. It's a long-term strategic commitment to being excellent, to being secure, and to being sustainable for the long haul. This comparison chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. The cloud's promise was all about elastic scale and lower upfront costs. But what the on-premises model brings back to the table is stuff that's becoming way more valuable today. Predictable monthly costs, direct hands-on control, and a much stronger security setup. Because, well, you're not sharing your house with anyone else. So we'll leave you with the one big thought at the heart of this entire analysis. In a world that just keeps getting more complicated and unpredictable, maybe the most valuable feature isn't some slick dashboard. For our most critical systems, maybe total direct control is the ultimate feature. Thanks so much for joining us.